Hare Krishna, everyone. I've been talking all day, and I don't know if my voice is going to work, but if you all pray for me very sincerely, Krishna will help me. Hare Krishna. Welcome to the daily readings of Srila Prabhupada's books, where we're hearing the glorious prayers of all the devotees in the universe practically, in all different relationships and moods and positions, and it's just profound, to say the least. We can learn how to be pure devotees on every platform just by reading the prayers of the Srimad-Bhagavatam. And not only that, but, we can learn how to think and feel and will and act in Krishna consciousness. We have no sound yet?
She said, please check the mic, it's soft again.
Soft again. Just a second, the text. Hannah did 2 hours of research by alternatives. She found one good alternative. This is the one normally this one. Make sure it's full. It didn't sound like it was full to me. It is. Huh?
I said I didn't hear it clear.
I know I didn't either. Now what?
She said yes, better.
Hello. 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 Hello.
Good now.
Houston speaking. Hello. Hello. Come in, Moon. Come in, Moon. Okay. As I was saying, Rupa Goswami gave us the essence of the Srimad-Bhagavatam in one shloka. If you were to learn this one shloka and actually apply it into your life, then you can become a pure devotee of the Lord and go back to Godhead. Are you curious? Anybody? I'm getting some nods around the room. Anyabilashita shunyam jnana karma janavritam anukulyena krishnanu shilanam bhaktir uttama. Uttama means the best. Uttama, uttam, up, the best, transcendental. Bhakti uttama. This is uttama bhakti. Anyabilashita shunyam. These things have to be given up for good. Jnana karma janavritam. Desire for the fruits for oneself. And jnana, the tendency to speculate. Make things up in our minds. Decide for ourselves what it means, etc., etc., etc. And Anukulyena Krishna Shilanam Bhaktir Uttama, it has to be pleasing to Krishna. So you have to know what's pleasing to Krishna to do this. And then you have to do and speak and will and think in a way that's pleasing to Krishna. Anyabila, all the time. Okay, just a little thought for the day. Hare Krishna. Let's hear Sanatana Goswami's wonderful prayer glorifying the Srimad-Bhagavatam, which we've been reading every day now for quite some time, isn't it? Srimad-Bhagavata Mahima Stotram. It goes like this. Sarva Shastravdipiyusha Sarva Vedaika Satpala Sarva Siddhanta Ratnadya Sarva Lokaika Drikprada. O nectar from the ocean of all scriptures, singular fruit of all the Vedas, rich mine of the precious gems of all conclusive truths, you are the only giver of sight to all the worlds. Sarva Bhagavata Prana Srimad Bhagavata Prabho Kalidwandoditaditya Sri Krishna Parivartita. O life heir of all the Supreme Lord's devotees, O Master, Srimad-Bhagavatam, you are the sun risen in the darkness of Kali. You are the exact image of Sri Krishna. Paramananda Pataya Prema Varshakshadayate Sarvada Sarvasevyaya Sri Krishnaya Namostume. I bow down to you, who are supremely blissful to read. Your every syllable pours down a flood of prema. You can always be served by everyone. You are Sri Krishna himself. Madeka Bando Matsangin Madguro Man Mahadana Mannishtadaga Madbhagya Mad Ananda Namostute. My only friend, my constant companion, my spiritual master, my great wealth, my savior, my good fortune, my source of ecstasy, I bow down to you. Asadu saduta dayin adini chochata kada hanamun chagadachin mam prem narit kanta yoskura. O bestower of saintliness to the unsaintly, O exalter of the most fallen, please never leave me. Always appear in my heart and my voice with pure love. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, we're continuing our descriptions of the different varshas of Bhumandala and hearing the prayers offered by the residents of these different varshas, which are heavenly varshas, except for Bharat Varsha. 5th canto, 18th chapter, text 24. Shukadeva Goswami continued in one thing I have to, before we start. What time does the shuttlecraft have to be where it's supposed to dock?
It's supposed to start at 7. We have to leave here at 6:15.
Leave here by 6:15. That means we have to stop at 6 o'clock, no later. Is it? We got to get a palanquin for him. You know, it's going to take him 20 minutes just to walk from here to there. I can say that only to him because he's a real devotee. He's humility personified. And all of you can take lessons from him. Okay. Shukadeva Goswami continued in Ramyaka Varsha, where Vaivasvata Manu rules. The Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared as Lord Matsya at the end of the last era, the Chakshusha Manvantara. Vaivasvata Manu now worships Lord Matsya in pure devotional service and chants the following mantras. Text 25. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is pure transcendence. He is the origin of all life, bodily strength, mental power, and sensory ability. Known as the Matsyavatara, the gigantic fish incarnation, he appears first among all the incarnations. I again, I offer my obeisances unto him. Purport. Srila Jayadeva Goswami sings, Pradayaya payo dijal laidritivan asivedam Vihitita vitavit vahite vinita vihitra charitram akedam Keshavadrita mina sharida Jaya Jagadisha Hare. Soon after the cosmic creation, the entire universe was inundated with water. At that time, Lord Krishna, Keshava, incarnated as a gigantic fish to protect the Vedas. Therefore, Manu addresses Lord Matsya as Mukhyatma, Mukatama, the first incarnation to appear. First, fish are generally considered a mixture of the modes of ignorance and passion, but we must understand that every incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely transcendental. There is never any deterioration of the Supreme Lord's original transcendental quality. Therefore, the word Satvaya is used here, meaning pure goodness on the transcendental platform. There are many incarnations of the Supreme Lord: Varaha Murti, the boar form; Kurma Murti, the tortoise form; Hayagriva Murti, the form of a horse, and so on. Yet we should never think any of them material. They are always situated on the platform of Shuddha Sattva, pure transcendence. Text 26. My dear Lord, just as a puppeteer controls his dancing dolls and a husband controls his wife, your Lordship controls all the living entities in the universe, such as the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and Shudras. Although you are in everyone's heart as the supreme witness and commander, and are outside everyone as well, the so-called leaders of societies, communities, and countries cannot realize you. Only those who hear the vibration of the Vedic mantras can appreciate you. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Antarbahi, present within and without everything. One must overcome the delusion caused by the Lord's external energy and realize His presence both externally and internally. In Srimad-Bhagavatam 1.8.19, Srimati Kunti Devi has explained that Krishna appears in this world Nato Nat Yadaron Yata, exactly as an actor dressed as a player. In Bhagavad Gita 18.61, Krishna says, Ishwarat Sarvabhutanam Riddhacher Janatishtati. The Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. The Lord is situated within everyone's heart and outside as well. Within the heart, He is the Supersoul, the incarnation, who acts as the advisor and witness. Yet although God is residing within their hearts, foolish people say, I cannot see God. Please show Him to me. Everyone is under the control of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, exactly like dancing dolls controlled by a puppeteer, or a woman controlled by her husband, or I'm adding a little adding, or a husband controlled by his wife. She should always be controlled by a man. Still, due to false prestige, a class of women wants to be independent. What to speak of women? All living entities are prakriti, female, and therefore dependent on the Supreme Lord, as Krishna Himself explains in Bhagavad Gita, Aparihamayitastvanyam prakritim vidime param, Bhagavad Gita 7.5. The living entity is never independent. Under all circumstances, he is dependent on the mercy of the Lord. The Lord creates the social divisions of human society, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishyas, and Shudras, and ordains that they follow rules and regulations suited to their particular position. In this way, all the members of society remain always under the Supreme Lord's control. Still, some people foolishly deny the existence of God. Self-realization means to understand one's subordinate position in relation to the Lord. When one is thus enlightened, he surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is liberated from the clutches of the material energy. In other words, unless one surrenders to the lotus feet of the Lord, the material energy in its many varieties will continue to control him. No one in the material world can deny that he is under control. The Supreme Lord Narayana, who is beyond this material existence, controls everyone. The following Vedic mantra confirms this point. Eko havai Narayana asit. Foolish persons think Narayana to be on the platform of ordinary material existence. But because they do not realize the natural constitutional position of a living entity, they concoct names like Daridra Narayan, Swami Narayan, or Mithya Narayana. However, Narayana is actually the supreme controller of everyone. This understanding is self-realization. Text 27. Now I realize why speakers are recommended not to eat right before they speak. Lunch was late today. Hare Krishna. Text 27. My Lord, from the great leaders of the universe, such as Lord Brahma and other demigods, down to the political leaders of this world, all are envious of your authority. Without your help, however, they could neither separately nor concertedly maintain the innumerable living entities within the universe. You are actually the only maintainer of all living beings, of animals like cows and asses, of plants, reptiles, birds, mountains, and whatever else is visible within this material world. Purport. It is fashionable for materialistic persons to compete with the power of God. When so-called scientists try to manufacture living entities in their laboratories, their only purpose is to defy the talent and ability of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is called illusion. It exists even in the higher planetary systems, where great demigods like Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, and others reside. In this world, everyone is puffed up with false prestige, despite the failure of all his endeavors. When so-called philanthropists, who supposedly want to help the poor, are approached by members of the Krishna consciousness movement, they say, "You are simply wasting your time, while I am feeding vast masses of starving people." Unfortunately, their meager efforts, either singly or together, do not solve anyone's problems. Sometimes so-called swamis are very eager to feed poor people, thinking them to be Daridra Narayana, the Lord's incarnations, as beggars. They prefer to serve the manufactured Daridra Narayana than the original Supreme Narayana. They say, "Don't encourage service to Lord Narayana. It is better to serve the starving people of the world." Unfortunately, such materialists, either singly or combined in the form of the United Nations, cannot fulfill their plans. The truth is that the many millions of human beings, animals, birds, and trees, indeed, all living entities, are maintained solely by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Eko bahunam yo vididhavti kaman. One person, the Supreme Lord, is supplying the necessities of life for all other living entities. To challenge the authority of Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the business of asuras, demons. Yet sometimes suras or devotees are also bewildered by the illusory energy and falsely claim to be the maintainer of the entire universe. Such incidents are described in the 10th canto of Srimad-Bhagavatam, where Shukadeva Goswami tells how Lord Brahma and King Indra became puffed up and were eventually chastised by Krishna. Text 28. O Almighty Lord, at the end of the millennium, this planet Earth, which is the source of all kinds of herbs, drugs, and trees, was inundated by water and drowned beneath the devastating waters. At that time, you protected me along with the earth and roamed the sea with great speed. O Unborn One, you are the actual maintainer of the entire universal creation, and therefore you are the cause of all living entities. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. Envious persons cannot appreciate how wonderfully the Lord creates, maintains, and annihilates the universe. But devotees of the Lord can understand this perfectly well. Devotees can see how the Lord is acting behind the wonderful workings of the material nature. In Bhagavad Gita 9:10, the Lord says, Maya jakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunan inikonteya jagat viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and non-unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. All the wonderful transformations of nature are happening under the superintendence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Envious persons cannot see this, but a devotee, even though very humble and even if uneducated, knows that behind all the activities of nature is the supreme hand of the Supreme Being. Text 29. Shukadeva Goswami continued, in Hiranmaya Varsha, the Supreme Lord Vishnu lives in the form of a tortoise, Kurma Sharira. This most dear and beautiful form is always worshipped there in devotional service by Aryama, the chief resident of Hiranmaya Varsha, along with the other inhabitants of that land. They chant the following hymns. Purport. The word Priyatama, dearmost, is very significant in this verse. Each devotee regards a particular form of the Lord as most dear. Because of an atheistic mentality, some people think that the tortoise, boar, and fish incarnations of the Lord are not very beautiful. They do not know that any form of the Lord is always the fully opulent personality of Godhead. Since one of his opulences is infinite beauty, all the Lord's incarnations are very beautiful and also appreciated as such by devotees. Non-devotees, however, think that Lord Krishna's incarnations are ordinary material creations, and therefore they distinguish between the beautiful and the not beautiful. A certain form of the Lord is worshipped by a particular devotee because he loves to see that form of the Lord. As stated in Brahma Samhita 5:33, Advaitam Achyutam Anadim Anantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham Navayovanam Cha. The very beautiful form of the Lord is always useful. Since sincere servants of a particular form of the Lord always see that form as very beautiful, and thus they engage in constant devotional service to Him. Text 30. O my Lord, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you, who have assumed the form of a tortoise. You are the reservoir of all transcendental qualities, and being entirely untinged by matter, you are perfectly situated in pure goodness. You move here and there in the water, but no one can discern your position. Therefore, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Because of your transcendental position, You are not limited by past, present, and future. You are present everywhere as the shelter of all things. And therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you again and again. Purport. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said, Go loka eva nivasat yakilatma bhuta. The Lord always remains in Goloka, the topmost planet in the spiritual world. At the same time, He is all-pervading. This paradox is only possible for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is full of all opulences. The Lord's all-pervasiveness is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 18:61, where Krishna states, Ishvara sarvabhutanam riddhichertunatishthati. Bhagavad Gita 18:61. Again, the Supreme Lord is seated in everyone's heart, O Arjuna. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 15:15, the Lord says, Sarvasya chaham riddhisanavisto matak smritir jnanam apavanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. Therefore, although the Lord is present everywhere, He cannot be seen with ordinary eyes. As Aryama says, the Lord is anupalikshitastana. No one can locate Him. This is the greatness of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 31. My dear Lord, this visible cosmic manifestation is a demonstration of your own creative energy. Since the countless varieties of forms within this cosmic manifestation are simply a display of your external energy, this Virat Rupa, universal body, is not your real form. Except for a devotee in transcendental consciousness, no one can perceive your actual form. Therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. Mayavadi philosophers think the universal form of the Lord to be real and His personal form illusory. We can understand their mistake by a simple example. A fire consists of three elements, heat and light, which are the energy of the fire, and the fire itself. Anyone can understand that the original fire is the reality, and that the heat and light are simply the fire's energy. Heat and light are the formless energies of fire, and in that sense, they are unreal. Only the fire has form, therefore it is the real form of the heat and light. As Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 9:4, Maya tatamidang sarvam jagat avyakta mortina. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. Thus, the impersonal conception of the Lord is like the expansion of heat and light from a fire. In Bhagavad Gita, the Lord also says, Matstani sarvabhutani nachaham te sravastitaha. The entire material creation is resting on Krishna's energy, either material or spiritual, either material, spiritual, or marginal. But because His form is absent from the expansion of His energy, He is not personally present. This inconceivable expansion of the Supreme Lord's energy is called Achintya Shakti. Therefore, no one can understand the real form of the Lord without becoming His devotee. Text 32. My dear Lord, you manifest your different energies in countless forms, as living entities born from wombs, from eggs, and from perspiration, as plants and trees that grow out of the earth, as all living entities, both moving and standing, including the demigods, the learned sages, and the Pitas, as outer space, as the higher planetary system containing the heavenly planets, and as the planet Earth with its hills, rivers, seas, oceans, and islands. Indeed, all these stars and planets are simply manifestations of your different energies. But originally you are one without a second. Therefore there is nothing beyond you. This entire cosmic manifestation is therefore not false, but is simply a temporary manifestation of your inconceivable energy. Purport. This verse completely rejects the theory of Brahmasatyam Jigan Mithya, which states that spirit or matter is real, whereas the manifested material world with its great variety of things is false. Nothing is false. One thing may be permanent and another temporary, but both the permanent and the temporary are facts. For example, if someone becomes angry for a certain period, no one can say that his anger is false. It is simply temporary. Everything we experience in our daily lives is of this same character. It is temporary, but real. The different kinds of living entities coming from various sources are very clearly described in this verse. Some are born from a womb, and some, like certain insects, from human perspiration. Others hatch from eggs, and still others sprout from the earth. A living entity can take birth under different circumstances, according to his past activities, karma. Although the body of the living entity is material, it is never false. No one will accept the argument that since a person's material body is false, murder has no repercussions. Our temporary bodies are given to us according to our karma, and we must remain in our given bodies to enjoy the pains and pleasures of life. Our bodies cannot be called false, they are only temporary. In other words, the energy of the Supreme Lord is as permanent as the Lord himself, although his energy is sometimes manifest and sometimes not. As summarized in the Vedas, Sarvam Kalidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman. Text 33. O my Lord, your name, form, and bodily features are expanded in countless forms. No one can determine exactly how many forms exist, yet you yourself, in your incarnation as the learned scholar Kapila have analyzed the cosmic manifestation as containing 24 elements. Therefore, if one is interested in Sankhya philosophy, by which one can enumerate the different truths, he must hear it from you. Unfortunately, non-devotees simply count the different elements and remain ignorant of your actual form. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. Philosophers and scientists have been trying to study the entire cosmic situation and have been theorizing and calculating in different ways for millions and millions of years. However, the speculative research work of a so-called scientist or philosopher is always interrupted when he dies. And the laws of nature go on without regard for his work. For billions of years, changes take place in the material creation until at last the whole universe is dissolved and remains in an unmanifested state. Constant change and destruction, bhutva, praliyate, is perpetually going on in nature. Yet the material scientists want to study natural laws without knowing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the background of nature. As Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 9:10, Maya yakchena prakriti suyate sacharacharam. Hetunani nakonteya jagat viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Now the material creation is manifest. Eventually it will be annihilated and remain for many millions of years in a dormant state, and finally, again be created. Well, don't you look the part? You've got a pretty nice headband you got there. People are going to mistake you for a hippie and they're going to throw you out of the place.
Keep the sweat out of my eyes.
What?
Keep the sweat out of my
I know. You look like you're at the NBA playoffs or something. Okay. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Now the material creation is manifest. Eventually it will be annihilated and remain for many millions of years in a dormant state, and finally it will be again be created. This is the law of nature. Text 34. Shukadeva Goswami said, Dear King, the Supreme Lord, in his born incarnation, who accepts all sacrificial offerings, lives in the northern part of Jambudvipa. There, in the tract of land known as Uttara Kuruvarsha, Mother Earth and all the other inhabitants worship him with unfailing devotional service by repeatedly chanting the following Upanishad mantra. See, we can learn everything from the Bhagavatam. It's got all the Upanishad mantras, it's got the Puranic mantras. What's not to like? O Lord, we offer our respectful obeisances unto you as the gigantic person. Simply by chanting mantras, we shall be able to understand you fully. You are yajna, sacrifice, and you are the kratu, ritual. Therefore, all the ritualistic ceremonies of sacrifice are but part of your transcendental body, and you are the only enjoyer of all sacrifices. Your form is composed of transcendental goodness. You are known as Triyuga because in Kali Yuga you appear as a concealed incarnation, and because you always fully possess the three pairs of opulences. Purport. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the incarnation for this age of Kali, as confirmed in many places throughout the Puranas, the Mahabharata, Srimad-Bhagavatam, and the Upanishads. The summary of his appearance is given in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 699, as follows. Kali Yuge Leela Vatar Nakare Bhagavan Ataiva Triyuga Kari Kahi Taranama. In this age of Kali, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Bhagavan, does not appear as a Leela avatar, an incarnation to display pastimes. Therefore, he is known as Triyuga. Unlike other incarnations, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in this age of Kali as a devotee of the Lord. Therefore, he is called a concealed incarnation, Chana avatar. Text 36. By manipulating a fire-generating stick, great saints and sages can bring forth the fire lying dormant within wood. In the same way, O Lord, those expert in understanding the absolute truth try to see you in everything, even in their own bodies. You remain concealed. You are not to be understood by indirect processes involving mental or physical activities, because you are self-manifested only when you see that a person is wholeheartedly engaged in searching for you, do you reveal yourself. Wholeheartedly engaged in searching for you. Little tidbit there, little jewel in the pile of jewels that are stood out. I'll read it again. Because you are self-manifested, only when you see that a person is wholeheartedly engaged in searching for you, do you reveal yourself. Therefore I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The word Kriyartai means by performing ritualistic ceremonies to satisfy the demigods. The word vipaschita is explained in the Taittiriya Upanishad as follows. Satyam jnanam anantam brahma yo veda nihidam guhayam padame vyoman so shnute sarvan kaman sa brahmana vipaschiteti. As Krishna states in Bhagavad Gita 7:19, Bahunam janmanam ante jnanavanmam prapadyate. After many births and deaths, he who is actually in knowledge surrenders unto me. When one understands that the Lord is situated in everyone's heart and actually sees the Lord present everywhere, he has perfect knowledge. The word Jata Veda means fire, which is produced by rubbing wood. In Vedic times, learned sages could bring forth fire from wood. Jata Veda also indicates the fire in the stomach, which digests everything we eat and which produces an appetite. The word Gudha is explained in the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. Eko Devak Sarvabhuteshu Gudaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is understood by chanting the Vedic mantras. Sarva Vyapi Sarva Bhutantaratma. He is all-pervading, and he is within the heart of all living entities. Karma Yaksha Sarva Bhutadivasaha. He witnesses all activities of a living entity. Shakshi Chitta Kevalo Nirgunascha. The Supreme Lord is the witness as well as the living force, yet he is transcendental to all material qualities. Text 37. The objects of material enjoyment, sound, form, taste, touch, and smell, the activities of the senses, the controllers of sensory activities, the demigods, the body, eternal time, and egotism are all creations of your material energy. Those whose intelligence has become fixed by perfect execution of mystic yoga can see that all these elements result from the actions of your external energy. They can also see your transcendental form as Supersoul in the background of everything. Therefore, I repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Purport. The objects of material enjoyment, the sensory activities, attachment to sensual pleasure, the body, false egotism, and so on, are produced by the Lord's external energy, Maya. The background of all these activities is the living being, and the director of the living beings is the Supersoul. The living being is not the all in all. He is directed by the Supersoul. In Bhagavad Gita 15:15, Krishna confirms this. Sarvasya chaham ridi sanavishto matak smritir jnanam apoanam cha. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. The living entity depends on the Supersoul for directions. A person advanced in spiritual knowledge, or a person expert in the practice of mystic yoga, yama, niyama, asana, and so on, can understand transcendence either as Paramatma or as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord is the original cause of all natural events. Therefore, he is described as Sarva Karana Karanam, the cause of all causes. Behind everything visible to our material eyes is some cause, and one who can see the original cause of all causes, Lord Krishna, can actually see. Krishna, the Satchidananda Vigraha, is the background of everything, as he himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita 9:10, Maya yakshena prakriti suyate sacharacharam hetunani nikonteya jagat viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and is producing the all-moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. Text 38. O Lord, you do not desire the creation, maintenance, or annihilation of this material world, but you perform these activities for the conditioned souls by your creative energy. Exactly as a piece of iron moves under the influence of a lodestone, inert matter moves when you glance over the total material energy. Purport. Sometimes the question arises, why the Supreme Lord has created this material world, which is so full of suffering for the living entities entrapped in it? The answer given herein is that the Supreme Personality Godhead does not wish to create this material world just to inflict suffering on the living entities. The Supreme Lord creates this world only because the conditioned souls want to enjoy it. Okay, it's time to take responsibility now. Everybody take responsibility now. Don't blame it on anybody. Don't blame it on God especially. The workings of nature are not going on automatically. It is only because the Lord glances over the material energy that it acts in wonderful ways. Just as a lodestone causes a piece of iron to move here and there. Because material scientists and so-called Sankhya philosophers do not believe in God, they think that material nature is working without supervision. But that is not a fact. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Lila 6:18 and 19, the creation of the material world is explained as follows. Adyapyak Sankhya Mani Pradana Karana Jada Haite Kabu Nahi Jagat Srijana Nija Shrishti Shakti Prabhu Sanchare Pritane Ishwarera Shakti Tabi Hayate Nirmane. Atheistic Sankhya philosophers think that the total material energy causes the cosmic manifestation, but they are wrong. Dead matter has no moving power, and therefore it cannot act independently. The Lord infuses the material ingredients with His own creative potency. Then, by the power of the Lord, matter moves and interacts. Sea waves are moved by the air. The air is created from ether. The ether is produced by the agitation of the three modes of material nature. And the three modes of material nature interact due to the Supreme Lord's glance over the material energy. Therefore, the background of all natural occurrences is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, Maya Yakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacha. We've heard that 5 times out of the last 4 or 5 purports. This is also further explained in Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi 5:59 to 61. Jagat karana nahi prakriti jada rupa shakti chanchariya tare Krishna kari kripa Krishna shakti prakriti hoya gauna karina Agni shakti lava yaichi karye jarana Ateva Krishna mula jagat karana Prakriti karana yaichi ajak galastana. Because Prakriti, material nature, is dull and inert, it cannot actually be the cause of the material world. Lord Krishna shows his mercy by infusing his energy into the dull, inert material nature. Thus, Prakriti, by the energy of Lord Krishna, becomes the secondary cause, just as iron becomes red hot by the energy of fire. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the original cause of the cosmic manifestation. Prakriti is like the nipples on the neck of a goat, for they cannot give any milk. Thus, it is a great mistake on the part of the material scientists and philosophers to think that matter moves independently. And since it's exactly 5:30 on the dot, I will stop here. Oh, we've been pointed out by our scribe, Dr. Patrick, that there's only one more verse in this, so I might as well do it. Okay, thank you, Dr. Patrick. My Lord, as the original boar within this universe, you fought and killed the great demon Hiranyaksha. You then lifted me, the earth, from the Garbhodak ocean on the end of your tusk, exactly as a sporting elephant plucks a lotus flower from the water. I bow down to you. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 5th canto, 18th chapter of Srimad-Bhagavatam, entitled The Prayers Offered to the Lord by the Residents of Jambudvipa. Okay, so the driver is going to get the chariot. Or maybe the palanquin. I don't know. Depends. Okay. That was really a wonderful chapter. What can I say? The prayers. I say it again and again. Don't mind if I go over the top, because it's just so wonderful, these prayers. And Prabhupada's purports, they come to life during these, when he's explaining all these prayers. So profound. Profound way to get to know Krishna and his energies by hearing straight from people who are actually there watching them themselves. Therefore the Bhagavatam is called Vijnana. It's not Jnana, it's Vijnana. So when I say Jnana Karma Jnanavritam, it doesn't mean that you give up trying to understand Krishna by hearing real knowledge about him from liberated sources. It means not speculating about what he is or what he isn't or whatever. Okay, if we got somebody Bhakta Doug.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna Bhakta Doug.
I have just questions about Jambudvipa.
Questions about Jambudvipa.
Yeah, I'd like.
Sounds pretty deep. Okay, go ahead.
I'd like to know. I probably missed it, but this isn't Jambudvipa isn't part of the spiritual world, is it? Is it part of the? Okay, but there's lots of.
It's the middle planetary system.
Okay. Next question though is there's all these different beings who are offering all these prayers to the Supreme Lord in his different incarnations. So would that be like a reflection of what those other spiritual planets are like, where there's
these are heavenly varshas. the Jambudvipa is divided up into different varshas. And the Bharat Varsha is different than the other varshas. Bharat Varsha means the earth, the earthly planet. And there's apparently it's connected with the rest of Bhumandala. But there's arguments to be made due to descriptions that are given in the Jyotish Shastras, the Surya Siddhanta, Siddhanta Shiromani, and other authorized literatures, some of which were translated by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, which describes the planets that we are commonly know: Earth, Venus, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Mars, Saturn, like that. In those Vedas, those planets are described. So in the Bhagavatam, it sounds like the Bhumandali is one solid plate-like form, which is very big, like 2 billion miles across, like that. And circular, mandala, they're called Bhumandala. But there's a reconciliation attempted to be, he just was starting, Sadhaputta, my godbrother, and I found out where it was. It's a YouTube channel. Don't get old. It's no fun, because sometimes I just can't remember things, even when I just wrote it down just a few minutes ago. I sent this to, who did I send this to? Yes, Jai Shri. I sent it to Jai Shri. Okay. If I look at Jai Shri's, here it is. Luckily we have these, so we don't have to, yeah. It's called Sadhaputta Digital Channel on the YouTube. Sadhaputta Digital Channel. And if you scroll down to, they've got all sorts of levels of things, lectures, and you scroll down to seminars, and you'll see 3 lectures that he gave in 1986 in Philadelphia, in which he begins to reconcile this apparent anomaly, apparent, what's the word? It's not really a contradiction. It's incongruity. It's an apparent incongruity in the descriptions of one part of the Veda to another. And of course we accept the Bhagavatam as being the essence of all the Vedas, so we accept the Bhagavad Purana. But how to explain this section of it is very difficult. Even Srila Prabhupada, admitted he didn't have all the tools to analyze it and purport it like he would have liked to. But he had other devotees who joined him who were helping to do that, but they couldn't finish it properly. That's why he stopped translating the 5th canto and did the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, because it was actually more important. I mean, not that the 5th canto is not important, but that's what he did. So there, he's based on not just his speculation, but also based on another section of the Vedas, plus the commentary on the Bhagavatam itself by a acharya who is coming close after Sridhar Swami, who is the original commentator on the Bhagavatam in our line. Lord Chaitanya accepts everything that Sridhar Swami says. And there's a commentator named, I said it last time, does somebody remember what I said? Nobody was paying attention. Okay, neither am I, apparently, because I can't remember either. Can't remember his name. Anyway, it's in this lecture, so you can hear it if you want to go to the trouble. And he says that this section of the Bhagavatam is written in a particular way to bewilder the atheists. Just as Lord Krishna's disappearance was written in a certain way to bewilder the atheists. And that's across the board accepted by all of our acharyas. So the varshas, except for the Bharata Varsha, are heavenly varshas. And therefore, they can't be seen by the eyes of persons who are incarcerated in Bharata Varsha.
Okay.
So you can't see, Mount Meru and, all these things, just by looking out your window or know how powerful a telescope you have. You can't see those things because they're different dimension, they're different level of subtlety that we cannot perceive. Just like there's so many things right in this room that are going on that you can't see. Mainly my, thing going from there to there. You can't see it, but it's going. That's the short of it. There's a long version, but that'll take a longer time. Yes, next.
Rati Manjari.
Hey, Rati.
Dear Srila Guru Maharaj, please accept my respectful obeisances. Tonight we heard once again about the Vaishnava understanding of the world as temporary, but real nonetheless. I have heard, but not remembered properly, what is the Vaishnava explanation of the famous statement of the impersonalists Tattvam Asi. Could you please explain the difference between the understanding of this statement by the impersonal Mayavadis and the Vaishnavas?
Yeah, Tattvam means you are that. Literally. The literary translation that is you are that you are, or you are that. Tattvamasi, I am, asi, tattva, that. Truth. I am that truth. So it means that we are all spirit, and Krishna is pure spirit, and we are pure spirit. That's what it means. But the Mayavadis accept it literally, that I am God. And therefore all of us are God. That's the difference between the Mayavadi interpretation and the direct understanding coming from Krishna. They accept that Tattvamasi as the Mahavakya. And there's 2 or 3 different aphorisms that they accept as the Mahavakya. But the real Mahavakya is Omkara, which is the representation, the sound representation of the Absolute Truth. It comes from the flute, the sound of Krishna's flute. And it is contained within the Hare Krishna mantra. And it precedes every Vedic mantra. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, etc., etc. Om Tad Vishnu Padamam Padam Sada Pashanti Yat Suryaha. Every Vedic mantra is preceded by Om. It's the seed mantra. It's the seed mantra. It's the Mahavakya. From that sound emanates everything. Patrick is now bewildered and wants to ask a question.
Yes, I was just going to ask about how Om enters into the material creation. Like when does
Om enters into the material creation by the sound vibration of Krishna's flute into Brahma's ear. Actually, the Omkara is, like I said, the Mahavakya of the Vedas. The Veda, it's like, you can look at it as a compressed, nowadays they compress information They can press a lot of information into a very small space. And the scientists have taken this idea and concluded that the source of creation is an infinitely dense and infinitely hot singularity that exploded somehow or other, and the distribution of all that energy, which is infinitely dense, which means it contains everything. This is their theory. And it explodes, and all of the different particles come out and arrange themselves by chance in what we see, into what we see. I saw a little clip on the somewhere, I think it was on the, maybe it was on the Dandavats, where this very smart devotee went out and asked 3 questions to all these kids. Not kids, well, kids compared to me. I get used to, I can't help it. I feel like a 15-year-old, so therefore I don't act like an adult sometimes, but I am. So these kids were university students, and they all, when they were asked the question, "Are you an atheist?" and one of them said yes. And then by asking these 3 questions, they were very intelligent. I don't remember exactly what the questions were, but they asked 3 questions, and each one of them said yes. If a book, then they brought out a book, and they said, "Look, this book has this many pages, and this and that." It describes it all, and this book just came out of nowhere. And they said, "That's ridiculous. What are you trying to put? Trying to, make me look like a fool or something?" I said, "Yes, we are trying to make you look like a fool, because if you think that has to have an intelligence behind it, right? Yeah, of course. Then why is it that the universe can't have an intelligence behind it?" And every single one of them was like this, deer in the headlights. They had nothing. They couldn't say. Every single one of them. It was probably selected because one of these highly edited, pieces. But that's how it happens, that the Om Tad Vishnu Padamam Padam Sada, Om Tad Vishnu Padamam Padam Sada. It all proceeds from the sound of Omkara. But Omkara is an impersonal representation. Actually, the Omkara consists of 3 syllables and a half. Do you know what they are? A, U, U, M.
The resonation.
No, M. And then there's a little, what is it called? There's something called, I can't remember, Anyway, I can't remember the name of it. It's a Sanskrit name for little at the end here. So it's actually, A is Krishna, U is the living entity, M is Radharani, and this is an expression of the affection between them. That's what Omkara actually is. But it's an impersonal representation of those personal features. So therefore it's like, sometimes you may say, "Hey, John." If I just say, "Hey," anybody in the room could either think it's about him or her or not. I may say, "Hey," and everybody would just, "Hey, John." "Oh, yeah?" "Hey, Maharaj." "Yeah, yeah." It's like that. So then that Omkara expands into the Vedas. And those Vedas are born, coming into the material world, simultaneously with Lord Brahma. They're contained within his form. Lord Brahma's form is not like our form. He sits on a lotus flower, And that lotus flower is the partial form of all of the different parts of the universe that have already been created by Lord Vishnu. And they come through the stem here, including all the planetary systems and all the species of life and all the codes of information that are required to put it all together, like a big tinker. You know, what is it called? Now, they didn't have them when I was a kid, but I think it's called Legos or something. Yeah. All these Lego parts, and you put them together and you make whatever form you want. They got a movie made out of Lego parts or something like that. Crazy. They don't have anything better to do, so they do something like that, you know. Play God. Teach a kid how to play God. Right? So then, that he's there and he's born from that, like the umbilical cord. You know, all the nutrients come from your mother body inside through the umbilical cord into your body. That's how it's created and nourished until it grows into a form. So it's exactly the same process. How's this for science? Yeah. And then all those things come into Brahma's body, and then his body is so fantastic that he can create forms from his form. So the first forms that come out, 4 Kumaras, Shiva, and some others, you know, until there's no sex involved, until Shadarupa comes out with Swayambhuva Manu, first male and female. They unite, and then the process of creation goes on the way it's being done now. And all the species of life are created like that. The demigods, the first beings that are coming out of this during this process, the original part of the creation, Visarga, you know, anyway, there's a process. Let's put it that way. I can't go too far into it because it's already 10 minutes to 6. And I want to move early, you know, so that everyone can get to where they have to go, because some devotees are going to a program tonight. Plus, I've just lost my voice. Only they may be able to hear it because it's so close to me, but it could be that somebody in the back of the room may not be able to hear me so well, and it's fading fast. And I've got to get up tomorrow morning. That is, if somebody's son will get up. Maybe we can like wire, you know, put a button in your room and then go all the way, the electric charge. What do you think? Sure that we can make an arrangement. Okay, is there anybody else that's bold enough to ask questions at a moment like this?
Yes.
Really? Who?
Rati.
Rati?
But she said, all right, if it's too late, I can ask it another time.
Okay, ask it tomorrow. Okay, Rati, thanks a lot for the question. I hope I answered your question sufficiently, not confused before you asked. Right. Srimad-Bhagavatam ki jai, all the residents of different varshas ki jai, the prayers of the resident of Jambudvipa for the Supreme Personality of Godhead, which contains all knowledge about everything, ki jai. Gaur Premanandi, see you tomorrow at 6:30 again. We're at 4:30 now. Tomorrow we're going to be back to 6:30, normal weekday hours. Hare Krishna.